The perks of being an adult are that you can go to the store and buy an entire birthday cake. The cons are nobody's going to stop you. What's going on, YouTube? With all of the passives that you can unlock in the game, today we're going to break down which passives will passively help you get passive rewards for your character passively. And to give a quick note here, we're going to be focused on the passives that are universal to everybody. But I would note that when it comes to your class passives and your racial ones, you're going to be getting those anyway as you level up. So there's really no need to go out of your way and get those because at the end of the day, you're going to get them anyway. However, all the other ones, such as the crafting lines, guild lines, alliance lines, etc., that's going to be the focus for today's video. Quick note though, I do want to start with the vampire. I just want to shout out Undeath because it used to be one of the greatest passives to have because you would just take less damage. And I wanted to note to everybody that it has been tweaked. It is now 15% damage reduction based on your missing health. But notably, what I really like about Vampire that I don't see people using is unnatural movement. Unnatural movement does require you to be a stage 4 vampire, but hear me out. When the newest release came out, Gold Road, everybody and their mom was farming and doing all these quests because they needed to unlock scribing. Guess what? I sprinted past all of the enemies in every quest area. I was probably the first console player to have scribing questline completely finished because I just used unnatural movement to sprint past everything. It is highly underrated how helpful this can be in getting things done faster. A lot of people throw shade at trying to min-max your time when it comes to questing, overland content, and farming overland content, but guess what? If I save 2 hours every 10 hours of questing, that is a fantastic use of a passive perk. Next up, inside of the assault skill line, which is one of our 2 PvP skill lines, you have continuous attack. And the beautiful thing about this is not all that fruity text at the top. It's this text at the bottom. Gain major gallop at all times, increasing your mount speed by 30%. This is incredible, and this is one of the best passes you can get hands down. I am a huge fan of getting to places faster. I promise I don't drive recklessly in real life. I'm actually paid hourly, so I don't really worry about that. But when I'm in ESO, I want my quests to be done efficiently. I want to get to the Cyrodiil conflict efficiently. And if you're like, Jake, what's the easiest way to just get the passive? Because you only need 1 out of 2 for this. You could certainly get 2 out of 2, and that will affect the top text. You can either do 1 battleground, win or lose. You're going to walk away with the passive afterwards. Or you can go to Cyrodiil and do the intro to Cyrodiil main quest line. You don't have to fight any players. It just explains how siege weapons and things work. And it's a normal quest that you'll see right as you pop in on a brand new character that's not done the quest before. Both are great options. Then it will unlock this amazing passive for you. Next one you also have 2 options for, but that is either to become a vampire or to get the Blade of Woe. Being able to instantly kill civilians without gaining a bounty is actually exceptionally helpful, especially if you're trying to get into pickpocketing, because guess what? Random civilians are filled with this thing called loot, and loot can be sold for money. And when you kill them with one of those 2 options, guess what? The guards are none the wiser. And to unlock the Blade of Woe, simply come to Anvil inside of the Gold Coast and complete the first main story mission here. And I will be honest, pretty much every single crafting passive is good in the game, but let's highlight a few. Keen Eye makes seeing ores and other things in the overworld easier. There's a single version of these for all of these here. But there are some other things to highlight, such as hirelings, which just give you free resources every single day, and you can get this across multiple characters. But even just leveling up your tailoring, for example, will also give you the ability to get better rewards by doing your daily crafting writs. But who also doesn't want the ability to refine raw materials to get better upgrade mats, and then being able to research things faster is also significantly helpful. But there are some other things that are essential for any character. One, in my opinion, is medicinal use. While using potions, resulting effects last 30% longer. This might not seem big, but it's pretty big. All those nice little passives and things that you get from potions, add 30 seconds. That right there is very helpful. Not to say that these other things aren't helpful. For example, you can now produce extra potions or poisons. You can now use more ingredients, which is generally essential. And you can reduce the duration of negative effects to being non existent when you drink potions. Most of the time, they don't have negative effects anyway, but these are pretty good. But honestly, medicinal use is pretty essential. And there's a similar version in the provisioning skill line, which gives an additional 20 minutes to the duration of food eaten or 20 minutes to the duration of drinks consumed, meaning your buff food can get an extra 20 minutes. And if you're me and you ever thought about calculating how much gold you've saved by all the sugar skulls or the other foods that you've eaten, and if you didn't have this perk, you'd be spending quite a bit of money. So, overall, these are ones that I would try to get. They're by no means essential, especially these provisioning ones. I would definitely go for the alchemy ones first. But overall, I would say all of these have their place if you have the skill points to invest in them. And I've been trying to stay away from combat based ones, but I wanted to point out Undaunted Metal just because it's so commonly a confusing topic for newer players because it's just a bit weird that a lot of times when you come into the game, oftentimes in other games, it'll be like, we're all light pieces, we're all medium, we're all heavy. Where in ESO, everybody's like, well, wear 5 of this and then wear 1 of each of the 2 other armor types. And it's because of this passive. It increases your max health, stamina, and magicka by 2% per type of armor, that being heavy, medium, or light. So generally, you'll see 5 light, 1 medium, 1 heavy, or 5 medium, 1 light, 1 heavy, etc. It generally you'll see it that way because then you can get a 6% total increase if you've got it, built right to your max health, stamina, or magicka, which is just very helpful regardless of what you're trying to do. Now, thankfully, you can always find thieves' troves in the overworld without having to go out of your way to do anything special, but I will say some of these other ones can be pretty helpful. If you accidentally commit a crime, we've been there. You accidentally run a stop sign with your horse, boom, you have a bounty. This will make it go way faster. Haggling, too, is pretty helpful. If you're one of those guys out there who likes to sell stolen items, and there's a lot of you because selling stolen items, there's no guild traders involved. You just get to sell stuff to a shady guy in a sewer. I mean, that's definitely preferable than, going through the guild traders and paying weekly dues. I get it. Go to the sewer, make some money, and this will give you 10% additional money. Clemency is if you're like, oopsie poopsie, I committed a crime, but I don't want to run away from you because that will just cause problems. You just activate this bad boy. Timely escape is oopsie poopsie. I've used my clemency already. I'd like to instantly teleport into the thieves' refuge. And then Veil of Shadow, decrease detection range of witnesses and guards by 10%. So that can be helpful if you're doing some of the stealing methods. And notably, too, some of the best gold methods in the game are stealing things, like looking for rare plans and things, depending on the update. For Gold Road, for example, the area that everybody is, taking items from is actually not a stolen area. But for example, when Galen came out, it was. So it can be kind of update dependent on where all the rare furnishings and the rare items are dropping from. But this is helpful because sometimes there's witnesses in those areas and, not getting seen is helpful. If you head down to Somerset and you complete the second main mission there, you will join the Psijic Order, and it gives you the ability to see Psijic portals in the overworld. These are just notable because you can get zone gear, mundane runes, you can also find kudas, and other such random odds and ends inside of those that you can sell, research, etc. It's just helpful to have, plus Somerset's a really good storyline, so I would go out, join the Psijic Order to at least get this passive. I mean, I guess I should highlight it because you can get both Persuasive Will from the Mages Guild, and then you can get Intimidating Presence from the Fighters Guild. I will just tell you that neither one of these are essential for your kind of overall gameplay. However, I will tell you that if you do have these, every so often you'll be doing a main story mission, a side quest, and you'll be able to save yourself like 10-20 minutes of goofiness because you picked up these passives. Is it a go out and definitely get? No. But if you plan to go into the game and do all of the storylines, every so often having both of these abilities will save you time. So I can tell you that that's kind of worth getting them. From a purely time perspective, it will save you a couple hours if you were to complete, all of the main story missions in the game. Bounty Hunter is just a quick one. It just allows you to accept Fighters Guild contracts inside of Cyrodiil. These are just other daily quests and things that you can kind of do. No crazy rewards drop from these, but it does give you access to like a new farm that you could do inside of Cyrodiil. We touched upon the Blade of Woe just because of how essential it is, in my opinion. But also, you can reduce your heat from that. You can gain Expedition after using the Blade of Woe. Shadowy Supplier is interesting because it gives you access to a free supplier. And for whatever reason, they like to remain silent. And you can basically ask them for a random assortment of things. We'll ask for some equipment, and every so often you can also get some leads, but realistically, you're just going to use this to quick sell some items. Shadow Rider makes you getting knocked off your mount less likely. We absolutely love that. And then Spectral Assassin gives you a chance to shroud yourself after using the Blade of Woe. So if you are killing people en masse, this is helpful because you're less likely to get seen. And if you plan to do crimes, being seen can be a big hindrance to those crimes. Next up is Soul Magic, Soul Summons. It just saves you a Soul Gem every so often if you make an oopsie poopsie. Also, too, when your health drops below a certain point, you deal a little damage to areas around you. And then if you kill a person, you have a 10% chance to fill an empty Soul Gem. I just like highlighting this because this is just a fun fact. Filling Soul Gems used to be like the best in slot gold method in the game. And I just like to really highlight how crazy that is. And I think the developers realized that everybody should have a lot of soul gems. So they made them drop from everywhere. Because for a while, you could basically be a soul gem filler as a full-time profession. Next up is Ledgerman, which is really easy to level up. In fact, if you just pickpocket a bunch of people, sell a bunch of stolen goods, you will level this up fairly quickly. But if you have it, you're going to gain access to some good passives, such as reduced cost of sneak. That could be helpful. Being able to increase your chance of pickpocketing, also helpful. And if you're trying to level up your Ledgerman, I would recommend taking this because it then makes leveling it up even easier. It's kind of like you level it up, it actually gets easier to level because you increase your odds of not getting caught. Pickpocketing, you can increase the amount of stolen items you can sell every single day. This is essential as a passive. If you want to be somebody who sells stolen items, this right here is 100% essential. You want to be a trafficker. We should probably move on from that. Locksmith. You can improve your chances of forcing locks open by 70%. You can pretty much have like a really high percentage chance to even pop lock master locks at that point. It just makes content, farming, and everything a little bit faster and easier. And if you wanted to pay your bounty to a guard or to, a fence, it's 40% cheaper. And if you are looking to level up your Ledgerman, you can actually see somebody here doing it on screen. You want to come down to this dock inside of Ebonheart, inside of Stonefalls, right dead center in the map, and this is where you can find tons of people walking across this dock. You want to pickpocket them twice, hit them with the Blade of Woe, and you sell their stolen goods. You will level up your Ledgerman pretty quickly. In fact, that's what's going on right at the end of the dock. Right there. Next up, we have the Keen Eye Treasure Chest. This is an actual excavation passive. What's nice about this is it highlights treasure chests. Now, a lot of you are thinking to yourself, Jake, treasure chests are so easy to see. And 8 times out of 10, I agree with you. But here's the thing. If you're doing dungeons or trials, finding chests can be really difficult. So having the Keen Eye version of this is just very helpful. Being able to see treasure chests as a highlighted area inside of dungeons, especially because sometimes dungeons have treasure chests that look totally different and don't look like that anywhere else in the game, it will save you a lot of headache. And if you're farming a dungeon for a specific set, you will thank me. This will make it a lot easier for you. And every racial passive is also really good. For example, Bretons being able to gain additional 1% alliance points. Woo, fantastic. And obviously, there's ones like Imperials, which increases your gold gain, etc., etc., etc. I just wanted to point these out because they're good, and you generally want to get all of these. And in that same mindset, because we covered the Undaunted metal perk, it's also important to get all of the passives from your light, medium, and heavy armor, because you're probably going to be at least wearing one of those pieces for all of them. And it's just going to give you a nice little passive to something. Reduce sneak, increase damage, increase resistance, increased gobbledygook. You want to make sure that you're having all the min-max output that you possibly can. I just wanted to highlight this because we touched upon Undaunted Metal, and a lot of new players will just be focused on I'm wearing 5 pieces of light armor. I'm just going to focus on these passives. Because even if I only have 1 piece of medium, you can still see a 2% increased critical damage done. It's still 2% increased critical damage done, you know? But everyone, thank you guys so much again for watching. I hope this was helpful. This was actually suggested by one of you guys who said, Jake, could you cover the passives in the game? And to be fair, when I was looking at how many passives and guild lines and things there were, I was like, there's actually quite a few here that potentially are worth covering. And if I missed any, let me know in the comments below, because as always, we're doing our 3 giveaway drawings. All you have to do to enter is leave a comment, comments below. Tell me anything. Were there any passives that I missed? Do you guys have any video suggestions? Because you guys said yesterday, Jake, you should do a video on the best passes in the game. And then boom, there's a video made right on it. Second thing is just be subscribed / follow on Twitch and Twitter. And thirdly, look for a hidden word to be flashed upon the screen. I hide it really sneakily. There's 1 hidden word per month. If you're the first person to comment it first, you will win. Thank you guys so much again for watching, and I'll catch you later. Bye, guys.
You better remember to like and subscribe to Jakeclips. Or you should. I might have to pluck your eyes if you don't. Or, better yet, I'll skip rope with your entrails. Do it now. Subscribe. Ta-ta. Off with you.